change the presentation, please. Distinguished guests, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of Asian American Coalition for Education, I welcome you all to this wonderful and distinctive conference. Today, the topic of my welcome speech is Rethink Education Rights and Meritocracy in a Big Picture. Today, I'm going to talk about the three major topics. One is what makes this conference stand out. Second is how, second is very importantly, I want to point out. Over the last decades, the establishment of American educational sector, they use a myopic view of racial diversity and racial equity to limit and challenge assault on our meritocracy, on equal education rights. And that leads to many unconstitutional practices using race or race proxies to discriminate against Asian and other Americans. This will be challenged today in this conference. Today we're going to present the big picture and to challenge our educational policy makers, presidents, and of our colleges, admission officers to look at the big picture. The impact of the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action. Global competition on technology and innovation. STEM talent shortage in America. Failing K-12 education in America's inner cities. The assault on meritocracy from both the colleges and to K-12 education. Also, lessons learned from history. Based on that, we have some questions to our esteemed speakers. More importantly, to American educational establishment, to policymakers, presidents of colleges, and admission officers. First, what makes this conference stand out? We have 5 reasons. First is right timing. The 1-year anniversary today marks the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action, which reshaped the educational landscape for America. Second, we have 3 important topics. One is what is the impact and implication, of the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action. Second, what is the effectiveness and the proper role of standardized testing in college admissions? Third, K-12 education. How should we defend meritocracy, also improve to help the underperforming minorities, Black, Hispanic, and others? This is a big picture review, a view I already discussed. The third. And also the passion number 4, our passion to treat all Americans equally and our passion to help underperforming minorities. Finally, we have outstanding speakers. We have featuring equal education rights advocates, scholars, and grassroots community leaders. First, big picture number 1. Starting by the Allen Bark in 1970s, went through 5 major lawsuits. It was a student for admissions led by Mr. Edward Bloom, who is today volunteering in Israel, cannot attend, and achieved this. Last year, the great, landmark Supreme Court ruling struck down the race-based, college admissions. This provide equal education rights to Asian and all other Americans, explicitly banning the use of race and race proxies in admission of a college nationwide. The Supreme Court ruling provided the constitutional guidance for all the colleges to operate. The question is, will the colleges comply? The second big picture is the global technology competition. Read the headlines on the right. If you read the headline on the right, America still leads in technology, but China is catching up fast. China to overtake US in key 21st century tech in 10 years, says the Harvard report. You know, the truth of the matter is, America confronts unprecedented global competition in technology and innovation. Another important, because that our national security and economic prosperity hinge on our capacity to innovate and maintain global leadership on technology. Another very important point, selecting and educating the best and brightest is the only way to keep America's global technology leadership and economic prosperity. Big picture number 3, our serious STEM talent shortage. We have about 37 million people working in STEM-related industries. But almost 20% of them, 90% of them are foreign-born. From the doctor level, the doctor degree level, science and scientists and engineers, almost 50%, 43% are foreign-born. We rely on the new immigrants to really support our STEM industry. Our recent data shows another very important point. The recent data shows the median wage for non-STEM careers only $38,000, but for median wage for STEM is 87, more than double. If we lose our STEM industry, our economy will go on decline. Also, look at the graduates each year. Educated by China, by India, other nations, America is far behind. If we combine the global technology challenge and also our serious STEM talent shortage, America is at a new Sputnik moment. In 1957, former Soviet Union launched the first satellite, Sputnik. Wake up, America. What was America's response? Our President Eisenhower and President Kennedy prioritized educational excellence, prioritized technology innovation. So that's the reason we defeated former Soviet Union. But today, can America afford to progressive to use woke racial diversity and equity policy to destroy American, technology leadership? That is the question our education policymakers need to answer. Big picture number 4, failing K-12 education in America's inner cities. Look at the headline on the right. 40% of high schools in Baltimore have 0 students that passed proficient in math. Also, their failing school are the tragedy of crimes, high crimes. And unfortunately, America's inner city, the failing K-12 education is not limited to Baltimore. It's nationwide. And also, they're caused by many root causes. One is crime. When I prepared this presentation, I read a very sad, very shocking data. It says, the youth living in inner city of Chicago, black youth, their death rate is worse than our comeback troop in Iraq. When we had a troop in Iraq fighting against, the terrorists. 1 year ago, when I was interviewed by Voice of America, I questioned a black Chicago kid living in the hair of bullets. Can he find a calm death to concentrate on study? 就是在这个芝加哥，一个黑人孩子能不能在这个枪林弹雨中找到一个平静的宿所 ？So before the mayors and Chicago can address crime issues, I see a little chance the the education K-12 for black kids will improve significantly in Chicago. But as a result, the measurement based on the SAT of the black, Hispanic are the lowest, especially maths. Look at this. Black only 21% college ready and meet the benchmark. Hispanic only 28%. So that's something we need to address. Root cause, to look at the root cause of the lack of racial diversity in higher education. Some liberal media blame meritocracy, blame equal treatment of every American students. But is that true? And look at this chart. From the elementary school, we have a lot of black, Hispanic, but go to the middle school already dropped a lot. Go to high school, even less. People are able to really apply for college even little. What are the root cause? Dumbing down academic standards, teachers' union, crime, drug abuse, poverty, broken family, maybe all of them. That's the reason New York Times recognized in 2017, even with affirmative action, blacks and Hispanics are more underrepresented at the top colleges than 35 years ago. Big picture, number 5, the assault on the meritocracy in college admission. Look at the pictures. University of California agreed to not use SAT, ACT, okay? That is about 4 years ago. Also, the radical left demonized, standardized testing as racist. And that assault originated in 1970s, led by radical organizations, including the Fair Test Org. With their almost 4 decades assault, as last year, the number of colleges and universities make the standardized testing optional grow to 80% of all the nationwide colleges, over 1,800. So 85 colleges, totally no standardized testing, including our nation's best, largest public universities, University of California system. And it's a shame the Biden administration last year openly encouraged colleges to drop out standardized testing requirements, prerequisite courses like calculus. That was written in a policy guidance last August. That's totally shame. Our government should have strengthened America, not undermine America's educational excellence. Actually, the assault on the K-12 education is even worse. In New York City, Democrats have made multiple attempts to reform the admission test of elite specialized high school. Why we talk about that? In wake of George Floyd's strategy, authority in several elite high schools, including Boston Exam School, Dr. Ben Tautron will talk about that. And also Lowell High School, San Francisco, Thomas Jefferson High School, Ezra will address that, all canceled objective admission tests. Starting the 2016, the school district of Montgomery County, Maryland, reformed its gifted and talented program. Since then, Asian enrollment in this program dropped over 20%. Also, many other states like New York, Washington states, all follow the step, introduce a policy to wash down the gifted programs. In 2021, State of Oregon dropped English and Math graduation, test for high school graduates. Think about that. High school graduates without have to pass English, basic English and Math test. And in 1 or 2 years ago, California Instructional Quality Committee approved to drop the like college level math in California high schools. If you are talented, you can handle that curriculum, but you are not able to do that just in the name of racial equity. Big picture, lesson learned from history. I'm a survivor of Chinese Cultural Revolution. My father suffered political persecution. But one lesson I want to point out is from 1966 to 1976. Over 10 years, China abolished college entrance exam nationwide, and in order to bring so-called equity, class equity to the soldiers, workers, and the peasants, and they were selected not by the merit, just by the family origin, and by the political loyalty to Communist Party. Sounds familiar? America was selecting students by skin color, okay? It's a different sort of identity politics. After destroying meritocracy, China educated millions of the revolutionaries who cannot conduct research or manage enterprise. As a consequence, China's technology innovation stalled, its economy rapidly collapsed. Today, China has become the number 2 world-class, economy. Why? Because Deng Xiaoping restored college entrance exam in 1978. One reason. So, with all the big picture information, here I'd like to challenge, our policymakers, presidents of colleges and admission offices. Should we rethink our national discourse on education? First is a perspective on education. Should we view education through myopic lens of racial diversity and equity as defined by woke progressives? Or should we take a big picture view as what I elaborated earlier? And also, we need to think about what's the primary purpose of education. Is education primarily a social engineering tool to achieve identity politics goals, such as woke diversity, racial equity, or gender equity? Or education has a primary purpose to educate and develop the best workforce for national security, ingenuity, and economic prosperity for America? That's the question our policymakers need to answer. If we adopt a myopic view of the education, it will surely result in short-sighted policies that jeopardize America's future. Group number 2, should our education policy prioritize meritocracy or racial equity? When America faced unprecedented global technology competition and severe shortage of talent, should our educational institute persist in adopting woke policies that compromise meritocracy? Specifically, eliminate standardized testing in college admission, abolish objective admission tests in our elite high schools, dilute the gifted programs, lower academic standards, abandon graduation test requirements. Another question, has demonizing standardized testing really helped or hurt Black and Hispanic? What can we learn from Chinese Cultural Revolution regarding meritocracy? Question group number 3, should American Educational Institute faithfully implement Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action? Does America need an effective and sustainable solution to address the root cause of our failing K-12 education? Should American education policy be racially harmonious versus racially divisive? And should American society hold failing politicians in American inner cities accountable instead of attacking meritocracy? And this is challenging to all media also, very important. So the conclusion is America needs a more comprehensive and robust dialogue on education policies in order to strengthen America and effectively help underperforming minorities. So that concludes my presentation with our distinguished guests, speakers, and I think we are ready to challenge the status quo in American education policy.